staying up late, eating processed foods, starting my day with a cup of coffee. These are just a few of the habits that I needed to change when I decided, probably in my late 40s, that I wanted to be more mindful of aging well, living healthy, which is aging, right? And I thought today that I would share a few of those. I think I have 8 habits that I changed when I wanted to be more mindful of aging well. So I've talked in other videos about habits that I've incorporated into my life. And I have a number of habits that have just become second nature now. What I had to do before I incorporated the good habits was I had to quit some things that weren't serving me well. I have 8 of those, and I just want to share those with you. The first habit, and maybe the most significant habit, I'm not sure, is being a night owl. So there's probably a time when that was a necessity, when the kids were young or I was working a day job and I had projects that I just had to finish. It wasn't always out of necessity. Sometimes I would just get going at night and not even realize the time. So I would be involved in a craft, or like crocheting, or I'd be reading. Thankfully, social media, Netflix, that sort of thing weren't even part of the equation. So I'm so thankful that I was able to break that habit. So now I'm rarely up past 11 o'clock. And it's not because I don't have anything to do or that I have more time. It's just that I've prioritized sleep for my health. The second habit is mindless eating, or the flip side, not eating enough. Like sleep, I had to get intentional about what I was eating and when I was eating. I also have to make sure that I get enough protein and that I'm not eating processed foods or added sugars. Working at home, I had a bad habit of just, wandering into the kitchen if I was bored, and I would have a snack, and there were unhealthy snack options. So now if I find that, I'm going into the kitchen for an afternoon snack, I will have a handful of almonds or a piece of fruit. So definitely more intentional. The third habit is something that I changed about 6 months ago. And I used to start my day with a cup of coffee. So I would get out of bed, straight to the coffee maker, pour a cup of coffee and have a cup of coffee or 2 cups of coffee. And before I knew it, I was well into my morning, and I hadn't really started my day the way that I wanted to. So now I have a series of 5 or 6 habits that I do before coffee, and I've done a video on that in the power of habit stacking. So I'll link that here. But one of the things that I do is that I start my day with a cup of water before I have my coffee, and that has made such a huge difference. And I recommend that to everyone. The fourth habit that I had to break when I got intentional about aging well was reading business books, listening to audiobooks, or even doing trainings at night when I went to bed. Now I've made it a habit that before I go to bed, I call them my little sparks of joy. And I write down at least 3 things that I'm thankful for through the day, or just things that made me smile, and little sparks of joy. So I have this book right now, and just some examples. Last night I wrote coffee with a friend, wandering around the thrift store where I found a cute little pair of brown boots, a Zoom call with a fellow YouTuber, couple more, a morning dove on my back deck, my electric blanket. It's starting to get a little chilly here in Canada, so I was just really thankful for my electric blanket. But it just kind of reframes my mind for going to sleep. And I also, when I read at night now, I read a novel. Most intense that I'll get is like a John Grisham mystery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so habit number 5, and I'm not sure if it was a habit or just a tendency, and that was just to always be working and not to take downtime. So now I had to break that habit, and now I'm more intentional about, shutting down the laptop and just putting it all aside. I go out for a walk, and even though the tendency is to plug in a podcast or an audiobook, I often just have a silent walk. So I just walk with my thoughts, prayer, and I'm not always going. So that's been intentional. The other thing that I've started doing, and I'll do it more in the winter, is my crocheting. So I am crocheting these little granny squares right now, and these will be a blanket. So that just, it helps me to unwind, to do something that isn't work. So now I prioritize downtime, my hobbies, and give myself a chance to recharge. The sixth habit that I had to change or stop doing was procrastinating when it came to health-related appointments. I find it so easy to go long periods, and I need to make a point of my dentist appointment, my eye doctor appointment, my massage, my regular doctor's appointment. So I find it too easy to procrastinate and to put those off. The seventh habit that I had to stop was the habit of negative thinking. And this really can become a habit. It can become a default. And I call it ANTS, ANTS, automatic negative thoughts. And I've had to intentionally break myself of going down those rabbit holes or thinking the worst case scenario or the what ifs. And because I have done this intentionally, I'm able to catch myself sooner. And that helps, I think, with physical and mental health. The eighth habit is ongoing. I think as women in general, I don't know why it's worse with women, but the habit of comparing myself to others. And this can be personally, it can be as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner. On social media, we are bombarded with so many images of what we should be like. So I've had to think about where I am, remind myself that this is my life. I need to stay in my lane. And if I am comparing myself to anyone, then I'm comparing myself to who I was 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. And I will allow myself to do that and to improve, but not comparing myself to other people. This can be hard and it's ongoing, but I had this little ditty, and I turn it around now, but how does it go? Anything you can do, I can do better. And I used to hear that, but I would almost flip it around. So I would catch myself thinking, anything I can do, you can do better. And that wasn't helpful. So I don't have to do anything better than you do, and you don't have to do anything better than I do. But I can do some things better than I used to. So that's my goal now. These are just a few of the habits and what came to mind when I was jotting them down. I'm sure there's others. I would love to hear from you. What's changed now that you're in your 50s or your 60s? Are there habits that you had to let go of? Was it easy, or was it a process? If you found this video helpful, then I hope that you'd click like. And if you want to hear more about positive aging, healthy aging, maybe some things that I've found hopeful, then don't forget to subscribe. And until next video, thanks for watching, take care, and God bless.